أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Vice Chairman of the Northeast Governors Forum, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, the Chief Host, the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, the Executive Governor of Gombe State, His Excellencies, the Deputy Governor of Yobe and that of Taraba State, Her Excellency the British High Commissioner, the Deputy Governor of Bauchi State, Speaker of the Bauchi State House of Assembly, Chief Judge, Deputy Speaker, Grand Kadi, Secretary to the State Governments of this Northeast Sub-Region, the Director General Northeast Governors Forum, members of the State Houses of Assemblies here present, His Royal Highness the Emir of Bauchi, Dr. Rilwan Suleiman Adamu, the MD Northeast Development Commission, the Director General Agency for Great Green Wall, the Founder and Chief Executive of Al-Ansar University, the Dean Faculty of Pharmacy University of Maiduguri, the Chairman of PDP, and the Chairman of APC, Bauchi State, the Wazir in Bauchi. Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, the first governor has gone beyond his mandate. He is mandated to make a welcome speech, but unfortunately has usurped many of my powers. Notwithstanding, he is a Fulani man, or close to a Fulani man. So I will allow him to have a little bit respite. I'm profoundly pleased again to welcome Your Excellencies and other distinguished invitees to this very important meeting, which is fourth in the series since our maiden meeting in Gombe exactly 1 year ago. The forum has now become a veritable rallying point in our determined efforts to identify and address the various challenges of development confronting the Northeast sub-region and ultimately the nation at large. Let me use this opportunity on behalf of the forum to express my sincere appreciation to the British High Commissioner for honoring our invitation despite tight schedules. Let me also acknowledge the tremendous contributions the British government as well as the High Commission is making towards reducing the insurgency in the Northeast sub-region. In our previous meetings, we have been able to identify most of the daunting challenges facing us individually and collectively, and the possible courses of action which we will pursue through shared responsibility and commonality of purpose in order to arrive at the desired outcomes. These challenges ranges from the seemingly unending issue of insecurity, deep-seated and pervasive poverty, from banditry and kidnapping, to cattle wrestling, from gender-based violence to youth restiveness. The challenges seem to be endless, but so also are the possibilities of overcoming them. The very fact that we have been able to identify most of the major challenges facing us is an indication that we are on the right track to overcoming them. The most formidable and by far the most daunting challenge we in the Northeast and indeed Nigeria as a whole is the current security situation, which seems to be defying solutions and which has a telling effect on virtually all aspects of our lives. Expectedly, with the appointment of the new service chiefs, a new set of strategic initiatives is expected to be deployed to the war effort, as the insurgency is now taking a new turn for the wars. With renewed spades of attack on soft targets and innocent civilians, may I at this juncture congratulate on behalf of the forum the new chiefs of defense staff and the new service chiefs on their well-deserved appointments. As most of them are already familiar with the theater of war in the Northeast, having served in various command positions, we shall be expecting a significant improvement in the security situation in the sub-region and the country at large. As it is now, especially in Borno State, violence being perpetrated by the insurgents seems to be on the increase, both in scope and viciousness. And it has become a matter of tactical necessity for the new service chiefs to devise new and offensive strategies to counter the current attacks and forestall any future attacks. Undoubtedly, the commitment of our military to the war against the insurgency is unquestionable, and their determination to succeed is undeniable, as they have considered and acted upon a full range of options to deal with the insurgency. However, with the current escalation of deadly attacks by the terrorists, the various courses of action being pursued seem to have some limitations in terms of the expected impact. Hence, the need for a new set of pragmatic and result-oriented initiatives to completely subdue the terrorists and ultimately end the insurgency. Again, I want to use this opportunity to call on the federal government to seek for support from our neighbors, especially the Republic of Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, with a view to providing a joint action that will look into the possibility of ending this crisis. Furthermore, federal government has to look into the possibility of involving mercenaries with a view to ending the insurgency. Because it seems the commitment is not there. And therefore, for us to end this insurgency, we must be committed enough. We must bring in external support, ensure mercenaries are hired to end this insurgency. On our part, in addition to the logistical and financial support we have been rendering to the armed forces in their fight against general insecurity in the sub-region, we should also look into the possibility of forming a security outfit within the ambit of constitutional precedent and operational feasibility, as has been done in other parts of the country. If and when we decide on a regional security outfit, the vigilante groups and civilian JTFs in our respective states may form the basis for the outfit. However, such arrangement has to be done in consultation with the Nigerian military as well as the Nigerian police force. Whatever the case, we must make efforts to bridge whatever gaps that exist in our respective states in collectively addressing the challenges. Your Excellencies, another aspect of the war against the insurgency that needs to be urgently reviewed or modified is the issue of de-radicalization of Boko Haram terrorists who have been captured or have willingly surrendered themselves to the authorities for greater efficiency and productivity. On the prosecution of terrorists, we must make efforts to avoid the current encumbrances and intricacies associated with the process, which usually takes considerable time, by urging the appropriate federal authorities to develop the powers of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation to state attorneys generals in order to facilitate the prosecution process. At the moment, only the Attorney General of the Federation is certainly empowered to prosecute terrorists, which often results in avoidable delays. We once again call on the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to delegate his prosecutorial peer to the State Attorney General to prosecute such cases in their respective states, as justice delayed is justice denied. Your Excellencies, as we all know, the negative effect of the insurgency is widespread and all-encompassing and has adversely affected the economic livewire of our people, such as farming and commercial activities and even interstate travels. And unless the insurgency is totally and absolutely subdued, all efforts at improving the socio-economic status of our people may be futile, because nothing tangible could be achieved without sustainable peace and security. As we are set to deliberate on matters of common interest and shared responsibility, we should, in addition to the issues of insecurity, banditry, and kidnapping, also focus especially on youth unemployment, the deep-rooted poverty among majority of our people, gender-based violence and protection of our farmers and petty traders who necessarily have to travel within and outside the states to sell their wares. We should also ensure that all critical infrastructure in our various states are properly safeguarded so that they don't become target for destruction by the terrorists. As it was in the case of Borno, where the terrorists destroyed the main electricity transmission line to Maiduguri, thereby completely subjecting the state to total darkness for the past 7 weeks. Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I at this point also re-emphasize the urgency and significance of protecting our schools, particularly in these trying and uncertain times. The provision of comprehensive and adequate security to our schools has now become a matter of compelling necessity. In view of the current trend in which innocent school children have now become a target of choice to bandits and insurgents, particularly in the northern part of the country. In this regard, we in Borno State have had the most harrowing and excruciating experience when over 200 students of Government Girls Secondary School in Chibok were brutally abducted by Boko Haram terrorists in 2014. And despite the best effort and representatives of the state and federal government, as well as the international community, most of the girls have not yet been released, and their conditions virtually unknown. As we may recall, there has a series of subsequent abductions in Dapchi, Kankara in Katsina State, and most recently in Kagara, Niger State, and Jangabe in Zamfara State. Apart from the physical traumatic effects of such abductions on the innocent children, there is an unimaginable psychological impact which may result in long impairment of their cognitive abilities. The overall long psychological effect of abduction on our children is indeed too hideous to even contemplate. We should therefore devise appropriate strategies and explore options and possibilities to provide effective and sustainable security protection in our educational institutions, especially boarding schools. If proper security cannot be provided for whatever reason, the affected boarding institutions should be converted to day schools to reduce their vulnerability to possible abductions. Thus, I believe, is the only way we could inspire and sustain public confidence and trust in the ability to protect their children and wards in the school. I want to assure you that, inshallah, we are determined to address the lingering crisis of insurgency, problem of out-of-school children, power supply shortage in the northeast sub-region, infrastructural deficit in the zone, among others, support to smallholder farmers. We have to create jobs for the younger ones for us to get rid of this problem. In trying to solve these problems, we must together stem down corruption at our sub-regional level. This is something which is very important. It is on this note that I once again welcome Your Excellencies and other distinguished invited guests to this auspicious summit of the Northeast region. Thank you, and God bless all.